In the quiet depth of a Roman night, a modest stone home rests in complete stillness, the air inside calm and steady, as though time itself has softened into something slow and unchanging. A single oil lamp burns low, its small flame warm and gentle, never bright, never sharp, only present in a quiet and patient way. The walls, shaped from aged stone, release a faint trace of warmth gathered from the day, not enough to be noticed clearly, but enough to create a soft and steady balance that feels neither warm nor cold, only calm. You sit within this shared space, your posture relaxed, your breathing slow and even, as your thoughts begin to soften and drift into quieter patterns. Around you, others rest without separation, lying on simple wooden beds placed close together, their presence constant and quiet, their breathing forming a slow rhythm that rises and falls again and again. No one is hidden, no one is completely alone, and yet nothing feels crowded, nothing feels overwhelming. The absence of privacy does not disturb the peace. It simply exists as a natural and accepted part of life, something never questioned, something never resisted. A soft shift of fabric can be heard for a brief moment, then disappears once more into silence. The lamp flickers slightly, then steadies, its dim light fading gently into the edges of the room where shadows remain soft and unmoving. Everything continues without change, guiding your mind slowly toward rest. As the stillness deepens, your awareness begins to adjust to this shared way of living, where space is not divided, and where the presence of others remains constant yet gentle, never demanding, never intrusive. The Roman home feels open, not because it is large, but because nothing within it creates distance. Nothing separates one person from another in a complete or final way. A figure nearby turns slightly, the wooden frame of the bed giving a faint and quiet sound, followed by the soft movement of fabric settling again. The motion is slow, unhurried, and soon fades completely, leaving the same steady silence as before. No reaction follows, because such small sounds are expected, part of the natural rhythm of shared rest. The room remains undisturbed, holding a calm that absorbs every movement and softens it instantly. The oil lamp continues its low glow, its light tracing gentle shapes along the stone walls, revealing textures that remain unchanged, familiar, and still. The air carries a faint scent of oil, subtle and constant, blending into the background without drawing attention. A slow breath rises somewhere in the room, then falls again, repeating in a steady pattern that becomes part of the silence itself. Nothing interrupts this rhythm. Nothing breaks the balance that has formed so naturally. And as your thoughts begin to slow further, the idea of separation fades, leaving only quiet coexistence and calm. The night continues without urgency, without any clear sense of passing time, as the quiet within the Roman home grows softer and more complete. Your awareness begins to drift gently between the small details of the space, noticing without effort, then letting go just as easily. The stone walls remain still and unchanged, holding their quiet presence, while the dim light of the lamp rests gently against their surface. Shadows form and remain soft, never sharp, never moving quickly, only existing in a calm and steady way. Nearby, the slow rhythm of breathing continues, rising and falling in a pattern that does not change. A quiet repetition that fills the room without ever becoming noticeable. It blends into the stillness, becoming part of it rather than standing apart. A faint movement appears briefly, a soft shift, a small adjustment, then disappears again without leaving any trace behind. The silence absorbs it fully, returning to its steady state. The shared nature of the space no longer feels unusual, no longer feels new. It simply exists as something natural, something expected. And as your thoughts continue to slow, they begin to lose their sharpness, becoming softer, lighter, less defined with each passing moment. The calm has now settled fully, forming a steady and unbroken stillness that surrounds everything within the Roman home. Nothing changes, nothing interrupts. Everything remains exactly as it is, held gently within the quiet of the night. The oil lamp burns lower, its flame smaller now, casting only a faint and distant glow that barely reaches across the room. Most of the space rests in soft shadow, calm and unmoving. The people nearby remain still, their breathing slow and even, continuing in the same gentle rhythm that repeats again and again without effort. No voice rises, no movement draws attention, only the same quiet pattern remains. The air feels balanced and steady, neither warm nor cool, carrying only the faintest trace of oil and stone, subtle and constant. Nothing shifts within it, nothing changes its calm presence. Even time itself feels distant, as though it no longer moves forward in moments, but simply exists in place. And as you remain within this stillness, your thoughts continue to slow, to soften, to drift gently away, leaving only the quiet and steady rhythm of the night. As the night continues in its quiet and steady rhythm, your awareness begins to drift beyond the still room, not through movement, but through imagination softened by calm. The life of this Roman home slowly reveals itself, not in action, but in memory, as though the day still lingers in the walls and air. Earlier, this same space carried quiet activity, slow and unhurried, where people moved gently around one another without conflict, each action small and purposeful, each motion blending into the shared rhythm of daily life. Nothing rushed, nothing forced, everything unfolding at its own natural pace. The wooden beds that now hold resting bodies once served as places of sitting and quiet conversation, where voices remained low and steady, never rising, never breaking the calm atmosphere that defines the home. Even speech here follows a rhythm that mirrors rest, soft and measured, fading as easily as it begins. Simple objects remain in place, unchanged, a clay vessel near the wall, a folded cloth, a small wooden stool. None of them stand out, none demand attention. They simply exist as part of a quiet and continuous life. And as these impressions settle gently into your mind, they do not awaken thought, but instead deepen the sense of calm already surrounding you. The Roman home exists not as separate rooms divided by purpose, but as a single flowing space where life happens together, without strict boundaries, without the need for distance. Everything is shared, not as a rule, but as a natural and unquestioned way of living. During the day, the same air that now rests in silence once carried soft movements, the passing of footsteps, the shifting of fabric, the quiet handling of simple tools. None of these sounds disturbed the calm. They blended into it, becoming part of the same steady rhythm that now continues through the night. The presence of others was constant, never absent, yet never overwhelming, as though each person understood without words how to exist beside another without interruption. No space was claimed fully, no corner belonged entirely to one individual, and yet nothing felt lacking, nothing felt incomplete. Even rest itself is shared, as it is now, bodies lying close, breathing in slow unison, forming a quiet connection that requires no awareness, no effort. It simply exists, steady and unchanged. And as your mind follows this idea, it begins to release the need for separation, settling instead into the same quiet acceptance that fills the room. The daily rhythm of life within this home follows no strict schedule, no measured hours, but instead moves with the light, with the warmth, with the natural flow of the day. Morning arrives softly, without urgency, as light gradually replaces shadow, and the space slowly returns to gentle activity. Movements remain slow, voices remain low, and each action seems to take place without pressure, without the need to hurry. A simple task, such as preparing food or adjusting a piece of cloth, unfolds gradually, without interruption, without distraction. Even as multiple actions occur, they do not compete for attention. They exist side by side, blending into a quiet and continuous rhythm that never breaks, never sharpens. The memory of this routine now lingers faintly in the still air of the night, as though the space itself remembers the calm of the day and carries it forward into rest. Nothing is separate, nothing begins or ends abruptly, everything flows into what follows. And as the steady rhythm settles into your awareness, it encourages your thoughts to move in the same way, slow and continuous, without effort, without direction. At some point during the day, the quiet routine extends beyond the home, leading gently toward the warm and open spaces of bathing, where the body finds ease in steady heat and calm water. The Roman baths are not places of urgency, but of slow presence, where time stretches and softens. The warmth surrounds everything evenly, never intense, never fading too quickly, creating a steady sensation that invites stillness rather than movement. Voices remain low, often fading into silence, as the shared nature of the space continues without tension, without distance. Water moves slowly, small ripples forming and fading again, never breaking the calm surface for long. The air carries a faint trace of warmth and stone, similar to the home, yet softer, more enveloping. These moments do not stand apart from the rest of the day. They are part of the same continuous flow, the same gentle rhythm that defines every aspect of life here. Nothing is rushed, nothing is isolated, everything connects. And as this memory settles into the quiet of the night, it blends seamlessly with the stillness around you, deepening the sense of calm even further. After the slow and quiet movement of the day, the return to the home happens without announcement, without change in pace, as though the rhythm simply continues in another form. The same calm that existed outside now settles once more within these stone walls. The small objects remain where they were, unchanged and familiar, receiving no attention yet never forgotten. The beds are prepared without urgency. The lamp is lit with a steady and practiced motion, its flame small and controlled from the very beginning. No moment marks the transition from day to night. No clear boundary separates activity from rest. Instead, everything fades gradually, one state blending into the next without resistance, without awareness. The voices that once existed grow quieter, then disappear completely, replaced by the slow and even rhythm of breathing. Movement becomes stillness, and stillness deepens into something more complete. And as you remain within this quiet return, your thoughts follow the same path, slowing, softening, fading gently into the calm that now surrounds everything. The night has now taken its full and steady form, covering the Roman home in a calm that feels complete and unchanging. Nothing remains from the day except faint impressions, soft and distant, barely present within the quiet space. The lamp continues its low and patient glow, smaller now, weaker, yet still steady, offering just enough light to maintain a gentle sense of presence without disturbing the darkness that fills most of the room. Shadows remain soft and still, unchanged in their quiet positions. The breathing of those around you continues in the same slow rhythm, rising and falling again and again, forming a pattern that never shifts, never breaks. It becomes part of the silence itself, inseparable from the stillness that holds everything together. No movement interrupts this state. No sound rises beyond the faintest whisper of fabric or wood settling into place. Everything remains balanced, everything remains calm, and as this complete stillness settles fully into your awareness, your thoughts grow quieter still, drifting gently toward rest, carried by the steady rhythm of the night. The stillness remains unchanged, holding the Roman home in the same calm and steady balance, as though nothing has shifted, nothing has moved, nothing has even considered change. The night continues in its quiet presence, unbroken and complete. The dim light of the oil lamp rests gently in its place, neither growing nor fading in any noticeable way, simply existing as it has been, steady and soft. Its glow touches the stone walls in the same patterns, tracing the same quiet shapes that never seem to move. Around you, the slow rhythm of breathing continues without interruption, rising and falling in the same gentle cycle, again and again, without variation. It does not call attention, it does not stand out, it simply remains. A faint sound appears for a moment, a soft shift of fabric, then disappears completely, leaving no trace behind, as though it had never been. The silence absorbs everything, returning always to its steady form, and as your awareness rests within this repetition, your thoughts begin to follow the same pattern, slow and continuous, without direction, without effort. Nothing changes, and yet the stillness feels deeper now, more complete, more settled, as though the quiet itself has grown heavier, softer, more present. The Roman home remains exactly as it was, unchanged in every detail. The lamp continues its low glow, steady and calm. Its light no stronger, no weaker, only consistent, only present. The shadows it creates remain soft and unmoving, resting quietly along the stone walls. The breathing around you continues, slow and even, repeating again and again, never shifting, never breaking. It blends completely into the silence, becoming part of the same calm presence that fills the room. Time no longer feels as though it moves forward. It simply exists, held in place within the stillness, without moments, without sequence. Nothing begins, nothing ends. And as this deeper calm settles into your awareness, your thoughts slow even further, becoming softer, less defined, fading gently into the steady rhythm that surrounds you. The same quiet remains, unchanged and steady, repeating itself without effort, as though the night has settled into a single, endless moment that continues without interruption. Nothing shifts, nothing calls attention, everything remains as it is. The faint glow of the lamp continues to rest softly within the room, touching the same surfaces, revealing the same textures without variation. It neither flickers nor fades in any noticeable way, it simply remains. A soft breath rises somewhere nearby, then falls again, followed by another and another, each one the same, each one blending into the quiet pattern that fills the space. No single sound stands apart, no single movement breaks the calm. The air remains still, balanced, unchanged, carrying only the faintest presence of warmth and stone. Nothing moves within it, nothing disturbs it. And as this repetition continues, your thoughts begin to echo the same rhythm, repeating softly, slowing gradually, fading gently into the stillness that surrounds everything. The calm deepens further, settling into something heavier, something slower, something that no longer shifts or changes in any noticeable way. The Roman home remains held within this steady and quiet state. The lamp continues to glow faintly, its presence smaller now, softer, yet still constant, still steady. The The shadows remain exactly where they were, unchanged and unmoving. The breathing continues in the same slow rhythm, rising and falling again and again, without variation, without interruption. It becomes the only pattern that exists, the only movement within the stillness. No thoughts form clearly now, no ideas take shape, everything becomes softer, less defined, drifting slowly without direction. Awareness itself begins to fade, not disappearing, but becoming lighter, quieter, less present. And as this deeper drift continues, the repetition of the night carries you further into stillness, further into calm, further into rest. Almost nothing remains now but the quiet itself, steady and complete, surrounding everything within the Roman home. The sense of space begins to soften, to fade, as though the boundaries of the room no longer matter, no longer exist in a clear or defined way. The lamp still glows faintly, though its light feels distant now, less noticeable, less present. It no longer draws attention. It simply exists somewhere within the darkness. The breathing continues, slow and even, though it too begins to blend more completely into the silence, becoming less distinct, less separate. Everything merges into the same calm presence. No movement appears, no sound rises, nothing interrupts the steady stillness that now holds everything in place. Time feels absent, completely removed, leaving only this quiet and unchanging moment. And as your awareness fades further into this near silence, your thoughts disappear gently, leaving only the calm, steady rhythm of rest. The night remains, but it no longer feels like a space, no longer feels like a place. It becomes something softer, something less defined, something that simply exists without form or boundary. The Roman home, the walls, the lamp, the presence of others all remain, yet none of them stand out, none of them hold attention. Everything has faded into the same quiet stillness. The breathing continues somewhere, distant now, slow and steady, repeating without change, without interruption. It is no longer separate from the silence. It is part of it, completely and fully. No thoughts remain clear. No awareness stays focused. Everything drifts gently, slowly, without direction. The mind no longer seeks, no longer follows, it simply rests. And as this final layer of calm settles fully, the steady rhythm of the night carries you quietly to the edge of sleep, where nothing needs to be held, nothing needs to be known, only rest remains. The stillness remains, but it no longer feels like something you observe. It becomes something you rest within, something that holds you without effort. The sense of the Roman home fades into a softer presence, less defined, less noticeable with each passing moment. The lamp continues somewhere, distant now, its glow no longer clear, no longer forming shapes, only existing as a faint and quiet trace. The walls, the space, the forms around you begin to lose their edges, becoming softer, less real. The slow rhythm of breathing continues, though it too feels far away, repeating gently without drawing attention, without standing apart. Everything blends into the same calm and steady state. No thought rises clearly, no idea remains long enough to form. Everything drifts slowly, quietly, without direction, without purpose. And as this fading continues, awareness itself becomes lighter, softer, quieter, carried gently by the steady rhythm of the night toward complete rest. The quiet deepens further, though it no longer feels like depth. It simply exists, soft and unchanging. The sense of space has almost disappeared now. leaving only a gentle and steady calm that holds everything without form. The faint glow that once marked the lamp is barely present, almost gone, no longer noticed, no longer needed. Darkness does not feel heavy. It feels soft, natural, complete. The breathing that once formed a clear rhythm is now only a distant pattern, repeating quietly without awareness, without attention. It continues, but it no longer matters. It no longer stands apart. No movement appears, no sound forms, nothing changes. Everything remains exactly as it is, calm and still, without interruption. And as this soft dissolving continues, the last traces of thought begin to fade completely, leaving only a quiet and steady rest that requires nothing, that holds nothing, that simply is. Almost nothing remains now but a faint and distant sense of calm, steady and unbroken. The idea of the room, the home, the night, all fade into something undefined, something that no longer holds shape or meaning. The last traces of light have disappeared, leaving only a soft and endless darkness that does not feel empty, but complete. It surrounds everything without pressure, without weight. The rhythm of breathing continues somewhere, far beyond awareness, repeating slowly and gently, though it is no longer noticed, no longer followed. It simply exists. No thoughts return. No awareness sharpens. Everything remains soft, distant, and quiet. Time itself has fully faded, leaving no sense of before or after, only this steady and endless calm. And as this final quiet holds everything in place, rest becomes complete, deep and uninterrupted. There is no longer a sense of place, no longer a sense of time, no longer a sense of self within the quiet. Everything has softened completely, fading into a calm that is steady and whole. Nothing moves, nothing changes, nothing calls attention. The stillness is complete, unbroken, and absolute. No thoughts remain, no awareness follows, no rhythm is noticed. Everything continues quietly beyond perception, beyond understanding. The night no longer feels like night. It simply exists as a soft and endless rest, without edges, without form, without interruption. And within this complete and gentle stillness, sleep takes over fully, quietly, naturally, without effort, without awareness, leaving only deep and undisturbed rest.